Alrighty, welcome to episode 8 of the Aussie podcast. Today we have the amazing Jen from Jelaine Home.
Hi.
I'm so excited for today. How are you feeling?
I'm a little nervous because it's the first time I've ever done a podcast. But I know how to talk and I talk a lot.
Oh.
So be prepared.
You and me too.
Yeah.
Two peas in a pod. Yeah. It's going to be a fun journey and we're just going to buckle in. I'm just going to start with like a little icebreaker before we jump into the questions.
Yeah. Gets the ball rolling.
Yeah. Okay. So if you were to give your business a signature song, what would it be?
Oh, I actually saw this on one of your other podcasts because I have a favourite song, but it probably does not align with my business whatsoever.
No, tell it.
Oh, gosh. Well, my favourite song, because my daughter's a karaoke host. And I love karaoke.
Yeah.
And one of my favourite songs to sing is Teenage Dirtbag by Weeders. So it doesn't really align with my business. Oh, that's a hard one because I've got so many favourite ones. Oh, probably should have thought about this one a bit more.
Well, I mean, I didn't really give warning.
No.
I was just like,
No. And I should have known because I saw it on one of your previous ones. But, oh, gosh, I really don't have an answer because, as far as music's important to me. So, I have lots of different songs and when I create, I have certain albums I listen to.
Has there been one that's been like really like maybe super influential in a concept? Like,
okay, well, I love Missy Higgins. So anything Missy Higgins related. And I recently just went to her 20th anniversary concert. So I've been listening to that a lot. And on days when I just really want to concentrate on my creating and stuff. So that's probably anything from her is usually what I would listen to. So The Sound of White is a very important song to me as like a sentimental value as well. And as my business has a sentimental connection, as you'll discover when we talk. We'll say something from Missy. We'll say The Sound of White.
Yeah,
because that's something that's important to me.
I feel so bad, but I don't really know Missy
No.
Higgins that well.
Well, I'm a lot older than you.
Oh. I was just like, oh no, but I love that though.
Yeah, no. If you heard it, you'll
I probably would know,
and you'll know some of her music. But yeah, that's probably something that's
like I know her. I just like when you just can't think of the.
Oh well, she was 19, 20 when she first sort of came on the scene. It was one of her first songs. So here I'm talking about Missy Higgins, and I'm supposed to be talking about my business.
No, it's great. Talking about your business.
Yes.
Tell us your story in founding.
So my story, I kind of stumbled into it a little bit. I'd gone and done, gone out with some girlfriends and gone and done like a sip and dip like you do making coasters with like epoxy resin. And I really enjoyed that. Like I obviously enjoyed having a glass of wine and going out with the girls. But that I think I was really searching for something in my life because I've only been doing this for about 2.5 years. So it was about, between 2.5, 3 years ago that I went and did this sip and dip and made these little epoxy resin coasters and a little breadboard. And I really enjoyed that. And kind of the medium itself I didn't really love working with. I see many, many creators out there using that medium and make some beautiful, beautiful pieces. So, I kind of then happened to stumble across acrylic resin and was sort of watching just YouTube tutorials and thought, oh, I can do that and why not do that? And, I just got myself a sample pack and started from there and it was just a hobby, as usually a lot of these creative things are. They usually start as a hobby. And, I just really loved working with it and the creative outlet what it gave me, just that kind of you can just focus on that one thing and creating something with your hands. It was really, really, I really enjoyed it. And, kind of went from there.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think like you said, it's very much a lot of people just start up as a hobby. Like I'll pick this up. I enjoy this. And
I mean, now it's like I decided to make it into a business. Sometimes now you have people come into your stall and a lot of creators and makers will know this one when someone comes in, oh, this is a lovely hobby. Where to me it's a business, Yeah. So,
Is that like, do you find like a lot of imposter syndrome around that?
Big time, big time. that's really hard, and I'm even at the moment struggling with that. I think a lot of social media plays a big part in that. I think it's always in your face, and like when you start, like when I started my Instagram, because I thought, you know, I really enjoyed doing it, and you know, like everyone, I'll start an Instagram page, and it kind of went from there. And you know, it's at first I was seeing other people do what I was doing, and it was hard. Like it was hard at first because I didn't want to be the same as everybody else. I wanted to be different, and it probably took a good 6 months for me to start going, I wanted to find my own way and make my pieces different to other people's. But even now, like I do the mosaic trays, and I'm sure there's plenty of others out there in the world that do acrylic resin and do the same kind of thing, but it's really, really hard. Like when you're feeling down on yourself or doubting yourself, which in that at the moment, like, you know, so then you see other people on social media, particularly, you know, because I make sculptural candles as well. And I know a lot of creators that have businesses and would be, you know, you go on Instagram one day and you see these people that have these huge followings and, you know, these amazing studios and these wonderful, successful businesses, and you kind of look at yourself then and you start to go, well, you know, what am I doing wrong? Or what can I do better?
Yeah.
Or, you know, oh, I'm no good, and, you know, you doubt yourself, and I go through that a lot. But then you got to kind of check yourself.
Yeah.
And then go, you know, this is where I am, and this is, have faith in your products and faith in what you do and enjoy what you do.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, obviously you had like a career before.
Kind of.
Yeah. But like
well, yes.
Transitioned.
Sometimes
from
I forget I'm as old as what I actually am. So like I look back and well, I'm a qualified beauty therapist, so esthetician, and that served its purpose for probably a good, you know, half of my life, in and out of that. Because when I was in school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like my husband, he knew he wanted to be an architect. He did well in school, he studied, and he's an architect, you know. Whereas with me, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Yeah. You know, and it was really hard. So I probably wasn't the best student. No. I probably talked too much, which hasn't changed. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I left high school and just happened to discover a beauty therapy course and did that, and I absolutely loved it, and I excelled in that. And that's what I think too. It's hard sometimes, and I've got teenage kids, so, you know, sometimes not knowing and trying to guide them. You don't always have to know what you want to do in life, and what you start out in life doing isn't always what you end up doing. So yeah, I did that and I loved it, and eventually learned to become a nail technician. So that probably is about 15 years of my life I did that. And I loved it. I would never do it again.
Yeah, okay.
It's just not me anymore. So, and after doing that, I think that has helped me to, you know, I ended up when I was 19 years old, I was managing a salon in Brisbane City. So I think that taught me a lot of, you know, responsibility, and, you know, I had a team underneath me. It helped me to, you know, work as a team, and, you know, I think that's really helped me throughout my life, even in no matter what job I did, you know, and I think it actually really helped me. I've always been a bit of a perfectionist, and that's a really hard thing sometimes. So, yeah, I think that really, really helped me be who I am today, because it helped me with my attention to detail and, you know, trying to be as professional as possible for me. You know, being professional is good, but you've also got to try and remember to be yourself at the same time.
So have you ever felt like you've fallen in the trap of maybe portraying so much of like a business sense and not so much of who you are?
Yeah, probably because it's like I've got to try and find the right words. No. Like it's a double-edged sword sometimes. If you show too much of yourself, and we live in a world now where everybody knows this, we live in a world, there's so much criticism and judgment, and there's always somebody out there, you know, against you. And it's really, really hard to be yourself and own who you are. And it took me a really long time. Sorry, I feel like I'm losing sound. It took me a really long time to accept who I was. And I spent most of my life probably putting on a bit of a mask to, you know, not really showing who I was. I think that too, working in the beauty therapy industry, you know, you always had to be, you know, looking immaculate and looking professional, and, you know, there's certain things you couldn't talk about, and, you know, like you had to always be sort of that professional level. And that's really hard for someone like me, I guess, because I like to be I want people to see my personality. So I think I've lost sound.
No, I don't. I can hear you
okay.
loud and clear. No, it's beautiful.
Mate, is there a timer that tells me to shut up and start talking?
No, I think like what you're saying is beautiful though. Like, it's so easy to just fall into like one extreme or the next. And it's about finding a
And I'm learning
balance.
now, I think it's good having a small business and having something, you know, I make home decor, and you know, yes, it's not a necessity, particularly at the moment, cost of living, everyone's struggling. But I always think, you know, you've got to have beautiful things in your life, and your home is your haven. And it's, you know, I always think too, it's lovely to have beautiful things, and we all do it. It's nice to surround your home with beautiful things and something that's made by hand by somebody, and something that's made and created with someone's hands. And I put so much love into what I do. And I think a lot of that too stems from the meaning behind my business and, you know, why I do what I do. So, yeah.
Would you go into a little bit of that and how Jelaine Home got its name?
Okay, so Jelaine Home, well, my name's Jennifer Elaine, but my mum's name is Elaine. And my mum passed when she was 53, so I was 23 years old. And I'm the youngest of 4 kids. I feel like I can't hear myself. So I was the youngest of 4 kids, so yeah, I was 23. So my mum and dad, you know, had raised 4 kids. And back in that era, you know, it was, you know, the wife and mother was the homemaker at home raising kids. So, and, you know, my mum was only just starting to go out and enjoy her life and do things that she wanted to do, and she was going off and doing creative classes, and like she always liked things like cross stitch and knitting and stuff. And I do remember vividly, I don't have a lot of memories because it was a really long time ago. She was going off and doing pottery classes, and I just remember vividly how much she enjoyed doing that, and to see her finally doing something for herself. And like I've got lots of little pots that my mum made. I've got a little coffee mug that's got a cursive J in it, which is really special to me, and I will keep that forever. And I just remember how much she was enjoying that, and finally, you know, going out and doing something for herself. And you know, I'm at that as I'm 51, and you know, it's been hard living because both my parents have passed. My dad passed a month before my daughter was born. So I've lived a lot of my life without my parents, which has been really difficult. But I've seen now, you know, my kids are out of school and, you know, teenagers early. My daughter's nearly 20 and my son's he'll be 18 soon in February. And I just felt like I needed something for myself. So, and when I had to think about a name, I wanted something that was in honour of my mum. So that's where Jelaine came from. So it's the name itself, yes, it incorporates my name, but it also is like in honour of my mum. But it's also what I do. And I know if mum was here, she would be my biggest cheerleader, and she would be probably at the markets, and she would probably be in the studio with me creating, and I know that she would be, well, both parents would be, but I know she'd be really proud of me in what I'm doing. And so that's sort of the story behind it, and that's how Jelaine Home came about.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it makes it a family affair, and it makes something where it's like it's It's more about like a family legacy, not even just your own.
Yeah. Well, that's something too. I mean, I've got grand dreams of it, but, you know, even if that doesn't happen, I can, you know, like my daughter leaves me little notes and sometimes they help me with things if I'm getting ready for a market. And I think they've seen how much it's brought to my life and like just that. And I really needed something. I needed something that was, I don't know, to feel proud of, I guess. That was, you know, like I've raised kids and I've been, you know, I'm a wife and, you know, built a home and we have our home life and our family life and I've got a beautiful little family. But, you know, as a woman, you know, we raise kids and, you know, we give birth to kids, we raise kids, we live our life. Our kids are our heart and soul. But sometimes you need to remember yourself and what's important to you and don't forget to do something that's good for you. And like even if I only do this for another 5 years, it's something that's really brought a lot to me and something that I can be proud of and be proud of myself that, you know, and I'm, you know, will continue to do that. And I think the sentimentality behind it is means a lot to me.
Yeah. And it's like, it's something where it's like what you do, you put your creativity out there. So it's literally like you're putting your heart and soul on the line. Yeah.
And like I know a lot of people sort of go, you know, like when I first started, like I did, you know, Jelaine Home decor, made with love. And a lot of creators sort of use that line, made with love, but it actually is true because I wouldn't be, I've had lots of different jobs and, you know, moved around and done things, but I think it's important at this age to be doing something you love. And I always say that to my kids, and no matter what you do, try and find something. Like my son sort of struggling to find his way of what he really wants to do, and I'm going, you don't have to have all the answers now, you know, but just maybe find something that you're really interested in and that you enjoy doing and try and turn that into something. Yeah. Because I think you've got to enjoy, like, you know, a lot of people will go off to work every day and, you know, like, oh, great, I've got to go to work and not enjoy what they're doing. So I think it's important to be, you know, like I love what I do. So.
Yeah, and it's having like pride in what you do as well.
Yeah, I have great pride for what I do and I hope that comes across to people. So, you know, but some people appreciate and see it and other people don't. And I just think those people probably would never understand. So, you know, but I love it and it's been good.
No, it's great. After your health scare in 2015, how did you adapt your work and lifestyle to manage your health while also pursuing your passion?
Okay. Well, it was quite a long number of years between my health scare, which was in 2015, to where I am now. And I obviously won't go into too much detail because it was what I went through was one of the scariest things I've ever gone through in my life. And also going through that without having your parents there as, support. So it was a couple of years before I really felt well enough to even hold, because I've got heart issues. And had surgery, and the week after my surgery I ended up with a blood clot in my lung, so I came very close to not being here. The one good thing about that is it made me realise just how important the people are around you and your family, and how important it was for me to look after myself and take care of myself, because pre-surgery I probably wasn't looking after myself. And taking care of my body. So it took a couple of years, and I did go through quite a bit of PTSD and struggled with not just the physical limitations that it had put on my body and on my heart. It was the mental and the emotional, the anxiety. And I've always suffered with anxiety and depression since I was a little girl. Yeah. So, but I was reaching a point where I knew how to cope with that, and I had the coping skills to manage my mental health. But then having something like that happen really scared the living daylights. And I've already lived since Mum passed, because Mum had a heart attack in her sleep. So, you know, coming close to now being the age she was, most of my life. I'd had these fears like, what happens if that's going to happen to me? And particularly once I had kids, it was like, you know, what happens if I don't wake up the next day? And I have that fear still now because of my heart issues, and, you know, I am a stroke risk, and I have to just make sure I know my limitations. It's very, very hard coming from someone, because at the time I was working a warehouse job and I was on my feet every day. I was lifting 30 to 50 kilo boxes and dragging pallets and pallet jacks through, but you know, I was drinking energy drinks every day, which I now, if I can say to anybody, stay away from energy drinks. I'm always at my kids. If they were here, they'd be going, yeah. I'm always saying stay away from them. So I was drinking them every day, and my cardiologist had said to me that that's part of the reason, because my heart rate would go up to 300 beats a minute and stay up there. So I still have days where I struggle, like if I'm at a market, and this is why my husband, as he's amazing, he comes to the markets with me, because I just don't know from one day to the next how I'm going to be. But anyway, I'd gone from job to job, but couldn't really, you know, it was a struggle to work for somebody else, because, you know, I might wake up one day or have a, you know, bit of an episode during the day at work. So it was hard for an employer to rely on me, and that was awful for me, for my mental health, because I couldn't, you know, I felt like I hated that, because anything I've ever done in my life, I always put 100% in, and I always think, no matter what you do, you need to put all your effort into it, even if it's just a crappy little job. You've just got to put 100% in and do the best job that you can. So it was really hard for me to go from someone who was really active and, you know, I worked fast and I always tried to do the best job I could, to then not to have those limitations and not be able to do it. And it was really, really hard. So it was hard for quite a number of years. You know, and I tried some things. I did photography for a little bit. So my daughter does modelling, so I thought I'll get into doing portrait photography. I really enjoyed that, and I still actually really have an interest in that. And, it was – so, you know, it'll be 2.5 years, you know, to nearly 3 years that I've been doing this. So, and it's perfect, because if I wake up one day, or if I'm having – like my health's not great, I can still – if I'm in my head, sometimes I can really get in my head and going, oh, you know, is something going to happen? I can go into my studio. I can, even if I don't have an order, I can create. And it's like a therapy, and I can just sort of get lost in it, and particularly creating something that's, say, a mosaic tray or one of my terrazzo trays, if it's something and then I finish it, and it's just like I feel like I've achieved something, and I just feel so much better. But I can also limit that if I'm really feeling unwell and I don't want to be on my feet, I can work on my business. And there's always, as people who run small business know, there's always something to do. You can't really have it. And even a day off isn't a day off. Yeah. I've probably taken a long time to get around to the answer. No. But, yeah, like it took a long time. So, yeah, it was 2015, and what are we coming up to 2025? So there were a lot of years there that I really struggled and really got so deep in such a dark hole, and it was even harder having young children. Yeah. Because, you know, there'd be times that I end up on the floor, and then my kids would have to go to the neighbour or call an ambulance, and I've had numerous hospital trips, and there's so many people out there that have worse health issues, but to have that unknown. But I was just
scary.
It was scary, and I was living my life wondering am I not going to wake up tomorrow morning? Am I going to drop dead? Am I going to have another blood clot? Am I going to have a stroke? And I'm constantly in my head. Yeah. And I realised my kids were just living in fear. Yeah. I felt like I was a burden to my husband, and, you know, I realised something happened. I don't even remember when it happened. I just sort of realised I can't live like this. I have to make a change and start looking after myself, and I try to I don't drink as much as I used to. I'm not really a drinker because it's not really good for you, but like occasionally I'll have a few drinks. But, you know, try and look after yourself, look after your body. But by looking after your body, you got to look after your mind as well. Very, very important. And as a sufferer of mental health, going through something like that and having that impact on my mind, I feel like, because growing up, I never felt like I was a strong person. I never felt strong, but I realised I've lost both my parents. I've gone through some pretty horrible experiences in my life. But I'm grateful for those experiences because it's made me the person I am today, and I can, you know, hold my head up high and know that no matter how hard life is, and I hope this is something I can teach my children, and I say this all the time because nobody knows what the future holds.
No.
And appreciate every day you have, and appreciate what you have, and appreciate who you have in your life. And I love that I stumbled into my business because it's been something that it's been so good for me on, you know, for my mental health, for my, you know, to fit into my life. But, you know, to feel proud about, because I reached a point where I just felt like I was this waste of space. I was useless. I felt like a failure. I just went through so many emotions for such a long time, and that was really hard.
And you get in a rut as well.
And I was just like, what am I doing with my life? You know, I didn't want my kids to grow up thinking that this is the way it's supposed to be, and I wanted to be an example to them and like a role model to them. And I think now I'm happy to be where I am, and I still have my days. Days.
And like that's the thing, like your story is beautiful, and I think it's so easy to be like, oh, people have it worse, but like you still have it hard.
And I never, if somebody starts talking to me about their health issues, you never, and like I went through in that whole time, obviously I had lots of people in my life that lived in judgment, and unfortunately that's the world we live in. You know, people that were like, you know, well why are you not working, and you know, you could be doing this and you could be doing that. And I'm like, it wasn't even just the physical side of thing, it was that feeling good in yourself and able to, you know, put yourself out there. And also, like, you know, being a sufferer of anxiety, it's really hard to put yourself out there. Even now, like, people look at me and I like a chat, and I'll talk, like someone will come into a stall and I'll just chat. Like, I always try and find something. Like, I love earrings as well, and, you know, if someone's got beautiful earrings, I'll go, oh, your earrings are beautiful. And, you know, I just want to – I like to make people happy. Like, if I see someone in Woolies and they're behind a register and they look unhappy, I always try and give them a smile, and, you know, because I kind of think lives can be tough sometimes, and the days can be, you know, crappy days, and it's just, I think, try to make someone's day a bit brighter just by being a positive person and, you know, just being a genuine person. And I try to be genuine. I guess sometimes nerves – I can't always. Sometimes some markets I'll go and I'm so nervous, and I
Sometimes
don't even
you
know
got to fake it till you make it.
Oh yeah. Like even last Sunday, the last market I went to, and I've done the market before, and you know I love my pieces and I love my products, but I was so nervous. I said to my husband, "What is wrong with me? I don't even know what I'm saying half the time." And you just got to, you know, put your face on and remember who you are, and try and just be a genuine, you know, be a genuine person.
So those nerves never really go away.
Oh no, like I'm inside. I don't know what I look like on the outside right now, but inside I'm like, oh my God, what am I saying? I'm talking too much.
No, but like
I'm very critical of myself, very, very critical.
Yeah, and that's where that perfectionist comes in as well.
Yeah, because and I look, to be honest, on one hand, I don't really care what people think about me, but on the other hand, I'm sitting here going, oh God, you know, you don't want people to say anything bad. No one wants people to say anything bad about them, you know.
And it's like, not only is it like, oh, are they perceiving me a certain way, or are they perceiving like creation a certain way as well?
Exactly.
And it's
like it's really, really hard, particularly when you put yourself out there. And that's what I had a conversation with a girlfriend who I've met through my business, and like we talk every day, and sometimes we just talk about really, you know, sometimes we get into the nitty gritty of everything, and it's like it's just hard sometimes. It doesn't matter what you do, and no matter how you present yourself on socials or in person, there's always going to be someone out there that has something negative to say and something not very nice to say. But you've got to not let those things you know, change who you are. And I always sort of say that's their issue. That doesn't have to affect me. But, it is hard. It's very hard.
Yeah. Talking about social media.
Yes.
How, of course.
Yeah. It's a great subject.
Yes. How did you navigate, like, initially starting and, like, trying to boost your following and all these things that you're trying to juggling?
I'm still trying to do that.
Yeah.
And, like, I know everyone at the moment, I'm solely Instagram's kind of the main thing. It's kind of like I'm trying on TikTok. And you guys are great on TikTok, by the way. TikTok I can't. And you know what? Yes, I am 51 years old, but I kind of think I'm up with, like, I've got teenage kids. I have to stay up with everything, like the lingo
You're
and
down
stuff.
with the kids.
And what is it? The skibbity toilet riz or
Oh,
something.
no way.
I say that all the time to my kids. Like, like my son will go, no cap. And I'll go, oh, yeah, whatever. But, like, with, I love modern music. I listen to a lot of sort of dance music, EDM music. So sometimes when I'm in the creative zone, that's what I listen to. And yes, trending audios. Like you've got to follow all the. And I sometimes I get so sick to death of this. 1 week it's this hack, and the next week it's that hack, and I don't really have any advice for anyone. And I've realized that to get. I'd love to have more of a following than what I've got, but I don't want to get a big following because I see some creators and some people that have these huge followings and all they have is just people writing nasty comments and criticizing them, or they're not they're people, they're not customers. They're just people that get a kick out of bringing somebody else down, and that's what I hate about social media.
Yeah.
Because I have a daughter, obviously I've said who's done modelling, and when she was first starting in the modelling industry, they had to set up social media. So she was quite young with social media. So me as her mother, I kind of became like her mummager. So I kind of Kris Jenner kind of thing.
Gotta love it.
And I think that helped me to be able to navigate now because there was a lot that we had to do with that. But it's constantly changing.
Yeah. It's an evolving landscape.
Yeah, and you have to adapt and you have to change with it. I get very, very set in my ways. Very and I don't like people telling me what to do. So when someone says you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that, I'm like, I'm just going to stay in my lane and do my own thing. So yeah, social media is really, really hard. It's really hard at the moment to I think I was growing organically, and I don't have a huge following, but I was growing organically really quite well, particularly for the first 12 months. And I think it was like end of last year, my following is just it just stopped. You'd get a few people here and then a few people will go. And that's sort of just the way it works now. It's really, really hard to get a following unless you're paying for it.
Yeah.
And, it's difficult. But I think too, I'm still learning. I'm trying to be more myself and show a bit more of myself. I always think there is a fine line with what you should show in your personal life because yes, it is a business, but I think because I want that personal attention and I want my customers to feel, I want every single customer to feel that they're important and they're important to me, and what they've ordered, I will put everything into and make sure it's as perfect as possible, and I want my presentation of my packaging to be as perfect as possible, and obviously pink.
You got to do it.
Yeah, I love my pink.
Yeah.
But even that, at the moment now going, is the pink too much?
Never.
Is it should I change that? But it costs a lot. It costs a lot to have all those things and your signage and all your branding and all that. So it's social network is it's a bit of it's sort of the bane of being a small business because you're not just creating a product and you're not just because I did my website myself and I'm still in the process now of shifting to another provider, whatever you call it. And I'm happy where I am, but I'm just making changes.
Yep.
To be announced.
Yes.
It's just, and there's always something to do. And I think though now you have to be a content creator as well.
Yeah. And it's about understanding your brand voice as well and understanding what you're representing as well.
Yeah.
Which I think
you get lost in that sometimes. I think I'm even doing
100%.
it at the moment. I've discovered CapCut, which you know, you can put your little you know, your green screen and you can put your stuff, and some of it's amusing. But I feel like I have a good sense of humour. So other people probably beg to differ. I think you're hilarious. I know. I can't remember jokes, but you know, I've got a sense of humour, and I like to sometimes show who I am by, you know, doing that. And I think I've sort of just lost that a little bit at the moment, because I'm getting I'm so in my head about what do I post next. Yeah. You know, what do I post this? And if I've had, say, a couple of weeks, you know, because there's times that you have weeks without orders, and that's what I'm doing. Like, I do the markets and I love the markets, but I am trying to build my online store and on my website. And July was fabulous. I had a great month in July, and I wasn't doing any markets, and then it just kind of just really slowed down. And I get that, because people are struggling, you know.
In a financial year.
Yeah. So, and it's hard, but, you know, it's, excuse me, trying to get your social media happening is just, and figuring out every day. And it's a constant, and then sometimes I want to create, but then, you know, I'm like, oh, I have to video this, or I have to video that stage. Oh, I've posted too much of that, and maybe I should try doing that. And I hate putting myself on camera. So, like I said to you before, I'm surprised I said yes to this. But it's hard. It's hard. You're constantly having to think about. It's like you have to entertain people, where really I just want to show my products and find my tribe and find the people that love my products, and you know, and to support me, because I like to try and support all my small business friends, and but it's hard when you're trying to build your own business and get yourself out there and get your name out there, and to be constantly thinking about what to post next it's really hard, and Instagram makes it even more difficult. So
it's like there's something to say that there's like strategy is important. Like
I don't have a strategy at all.
No,
you probably guessed I don't.
Strategy is important, but it's also important to represent you and you represent your brand well. Yeah, and the social media can be so much fun if we just let it be.
Yeah. I think that's what that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get back to enjoying my business. Yeah. Enjoying, you know, getting, like, it's great when you get new customers, and it's great when you get new people, but social media can be fun. Yeah. And I think we all get so caught up in, I've lost a follower. Nitty-gritty and I haven't got this many followers. I've got to have, it's all about followers. But you know what? I think it's about the quality. Yeah. And like, I do. I'm constantly criticizing myself. I will look on my Instagram and go, you know.
And you're putting yourself out there. Like, I mean, it's been a common theme that we've been talking about, obviously putting yourself out there, like that vulnerability. But I think like social media as well is just like this added layer of vulnerability, because you're like, you're seeing your face, and you're like trying to communicate to like the masses, I'm going to say. Yeah.
And you're constantly always worrying about, like I said to you when I got here, I'm so worried I'm going to say the wrong thing. Yeah. Because you don't want to say the wrong thing. It's really hard now. What can you say? What can't you say? You know? Yeah. And it's really hard. And, you know, I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to put myself out there and be myself and show myself. And just because I'm the age I'm at, it doesn't mean I stop learning. I think you're always forever learning. And it's social media. It's really good. It's a really good tool for businesses, for small business in particular. It's a good tool to get yourself out and then get yourself started. But it's hard to maintain that all the time. But it's also, on the other hand, I detest social media for the negative side of it, and the social, the bullying and things like that. And we have personal experience with that. With my daughter, was bullied a lot and cyberbullied a lot, and the impact of that was disastrous. And you know, that's where I hate that side of it. You know, hate's a strong word, but I hate that, particularly for young children, and also for young women, and yeah, like I've got two. I've got a boy and a girl, and what they see on social media, you know, it's hard. Like when we grew up, you know, we were in the backyard and we would be out till dark and come home and ride our bikes, drink out of the hose, and we didn't have our faces in screens, and we learnt how to communicate, you know, one-on-one with people, where I feel like kids sound like, you know, kids these days. You know, I think social media, it has had the negative side of it for young people, and particularly young women. What they see, they think that's what beautiful represents. And I'm probably a contradiction, because yes, I will post myself on my social media and I'll put a filter on, because sometimes, you know, you don't like the way you look, but everyone is different and everyone is individual, and everyone should look at themselves and go, I am beautiful. You know, if we all looked exactly the same, we all had perfect skin, perfect teeth, perfect hair, life would be really boring, wouldn't it? But it is hard. And I think too, as having a business, I want to be able to show people that I'm a real person, and with the real feelings. And there's the highs of small business, and then there's the lows of small business. And I probably don't share the lows as much as
the highlight reel is so easy to fall into.
And that's where that whole imposter syndrome comes in, because you see these businesses and you go, oh God, they're doing so well, and you know, they must just be rolling in it. And to me, it's not about the money. Like I'd love it if, you know, I'd love it if I was raking in the dollars. Yeah. But to me, it's not about the money. It's about waking up every day and enjoying what I do. Yeah. And, you know, and my customers loving their pieces and loving what I do as well. And I talked about 3 different subjects in one question.
I love it. What do you love about the small business community?
Okay, there's a lot I love and there's a lot I don't. But what I love the most is the people you meet and the connections you make. And I've made some really wonderful friends, whether that be fellow vendors or market organisers, and I think too, you become this community. Like at the moment now, like when I first started, I was trying to do so many different markets and events, and it just becomes a bit difficult and it's exhausting. And obviously with my issues with my health, it got to a point where I couldn't do a market every weekend. And I have such admiration for people like some, you know, business connections I've made. They're doing like 4 markets in a weekend. I'm like, how do you do that? Like I struggle to do one. But then it's also, if I have a great market and I sell out of stuff, I can't just make it in one day. It takes a while. But I think I've made some really, really wonderful connections through markets, and I've made some really, really beautiful connections as well online. Like, and sometimes people just fall into your lap. Sometimes you might just have something in common and you just start communicating either via social network or at a market, and you just sort of hit it off. And that's what I love about it. And I also love, particularly at the moment, because it is so difficult for small business and it's so difficult, markets probably aren't as profitable as what they were. You've got those people at the markets, you're all in the same boat, and you can support each other and you can be there for each other, and someone to vent to, someone to talk to, or if you need advice about, you know, a particular market, or if you need advice about, hey, you know, I've got to do this, and this. Can you give me some advice? And I think that we're all there for each other, and I'm very lucky. I've found a lovely little network of fellow small businesses, and lots of chandlers, lots of candle makers. It's really hard. Like I try to order from every one of them, but, you know. But no, I think that's the best part of small business is we are small, and we're a community, and we've just run out of.
Yeah, well, the video's just cut out. It's fine. It's going to record half of it.
Okay.
It's fine. Okay. We're still recording here, though.
Right. Okay, cool. Awesome.
I was like, oh, this is shutting down.
I was making my point.
No, but like you can still hear you. Yeah, it's great.
That's fine.
So what advice would you give to someone that is starting out? Talking about advice and small business advice.
Like like it's in markets or just small business in general? Because I have
Just
advice
anyone
like for
starting
markets.
down. Let's do both.
Okay, so markets. I think the best thing is don't go into it thinking that you're going to make hundreds and hundreds of dollars. First off, so don't be so hard on yourself. Like go in if you love what you do, try to present yourself to the best way possible. Be as presentable, and you can look professional and be presentable on a budget. You don't have to go out and have everything all at once. I possibly did that, but like I made my own desk shelving for my desks, and I tried my best to, do things on a budget. Have a good quality gazebo, very very important. Ways, and there's sort of general ones, but I think just be yourself and don't put so much pressure on yourself, and try not to let those bad market days, because they won't always be what you think they're going to be. And every market you do, like there's some markets I don't do anymore, and it's not that I didn't love the organizer or the market themselves. It just they're not my demographic. You've got to find your demographic for what your products are, and you will over time, but it's not going to happen in one day. You have to put the work in. And a small business, same. You've got to – don't expect it all just to fall into your lap. You do actually have to do the work and, just try and be yourself and, can't really think of what else. I had a point, but I've kind of lost it.
No, that's fine.
But, yeah, and don't and also one thing I've learnt is you can't expect your friends and family to be your customers. That's one thing. I'm very lucky. I've got some friends who are my best customers, and they're people that I went to school with in high school, and we've known each other for 30 years. But then, I've got friends and family and my, best family members who are my best customers as well. But then I've got family and friends who've not said one word to me in 2.5 years. Yeah. So that's really, really hard, and that's hard sometimes, and it is upsetting when you go, well, if the tables were turned, I would be supporting you. But then what you've got to remember is they aren't your customers. They aren't your people. And don't let, if someone's got something negative to say to you about it, don't let that sway you from your dream and from what you want. And also listen to other people. Like if you've got somebody you admire as a small business, you can reach out to them. And you can ask for advice, like to a point. I get to a point now, I have a lot of people that will message just wanting to know where I get this from and where I get that from and how do I do this and stuff. And you can give some information out, but you also have to be very, very careful of particularly creators. And there's a lot of people out there that just want to take the easy way out and, take your ideas. That's hard, but you've got to also look at that as probably a compliment then too, that somebody has liked yours and you're an inspiration to them.
Enough to steal it.
Yeah, but that's really hard. That's hard because it's just, but then I guess a lot of us in the creative world have that happen. But I think, you just got to take your time. Don't expect everything just to fall in your lap, and research. That's what I did. And I can be proud of myself to know that I didn't sort of cut corners. I didn't go and just take somebody's idea and run with it. Yeah. I made sure when I decided I wanted to make this a business, I, contacted suppliers. I bought sample packs, particularly with my resin. I bought sample packs from a few different suppliers because I really wanted to see what else was out there. I experimented with it, and I found some, I've got my few regular I've got a couple of candle supply places I researched, which is a question coming up, but I researched them and I took samples and I experimented and I did trial and error. I've got so many failures. I've got boxes of failures. Yeah. But you learn by trial and error, and you learn by experimenting. If you've got an idea, try it. Don't just expect somebody else to, anyway, I've kind of gone off the track there.
No, I love it. Just on that, in terms of just like sourcing materials and stuff like that, what's your approach around that, and what role does sustainability play in your business?
It's very, very important to me that whoever I get my supplies from that has very good ethics. Anything eco-friendly, cruelty-free. Like I love animals. Anything that's cruel to animals or toxic to animals or humans is something that it's not for me. I make sure with my practices, or with my suppliers, I've made sure that I've looked into them and made sure that they're products that I'm sourcing from them that are, non-toxic, particularly with my candle making. And, it's important to me to know that they're doing the right thing as well. It's really, it's hard with, say, for the silicone molds, there's companies out there that we shall not name, that kind of monopolise the online part of things. I won't purchase from those people. I would rather spend a bit more money and get them from a reputable supplier. As far as in my business, in my studio, I don't use single-use plastics for anything. All of my implements, tools and equipment are all reusable. I try to avoid single-use plastics even in my life. With my packaging, everything must be recyclable, compostable and eco-friendly. That's really, really important to me. I don't like to use plastic. Even with my wax melts, I won't wrap them in the plastic bags. Sorry, no offence to anyone who does. I try to source, packaging that is no plastic and things like that. So that's important to me. And to whoever I get my supplies from, that they're doing the right thing as well, and a reputable company with good ethics. That's important to me.
Yeah, and then we can just keep going round. And
Yeah.
Beautiful. My last question for you today. What are future goals and ambitions for Jelaine Home?
Okay, well.
Big question.
Ideally, I'd love to have my own space or my own shop. If money was no option, I'd love some property that I would live on with, my house and my family and my animals. And I would have rustic barn inspired kind of
dream,
where I'd have my store and I'd have my studio and I would have a workshop where I could actually teach, and also where it could be a creative space for other creators, even with other mediums, and that you could come and, you could have workshops and things like that. But also, I'd love to have a little cafe and something like that. But ideally I'd love to have my own, because at the moment I've taken over. My husband doesn't have much left in the garage anymore. I've got like a third it was like a quarter of the garage. Now it's like a third of the garage. That's like studio space. And then we have, because we have teenagers, so we've got so much stuff. We have got no room in our garage. And then I've got the office, and things are sort of starting to take over my house. So I'd ideally would love my own space that I could actually have and create there, have my stuff on display. And ideally I would love to have in the short term, I would obviously like to have a bigger customer base. That would be good. But yeah, if I could look in a 12 months time, if I'm still where I am, that's where I'm meant to be, and I can be happy, because there's times it's been tough the last few weeks, and I am doubting myself, and I'm in the process of what I will continue to sell, and I've got some other ideas of other things I'm working on. Exciting. But then I look back and go, this is where I was, and I'm happy where I am today. And I there's times I go, I thought I would be further along. I thought I would be more successful. And then I get down about it, and then I go, no, because I look back at where I was, and now I can go to a market and I've got regular customers that come back to the markets, or someone will go, my girlfriend's got one of your trays, and and they know the name Jelaine Home, and that makes me feel good. And it's not an ego thing. No. It's just that it makes you feel good to know that, there are people out there that love your products, and because I love what I do, and I want to be able to share that with other people.
So it sounds like we should be excited for a few more products to come out.
I don't know how long it's going to take. Hush. Yeah. There's just some other other different things, because I've got too many products, and that's where I'm at the moment. I got so excited when I first started. I was just like, it'll be a weekend. I'm bored. And I go in and I just make some stuff. And so there's stuff that I've got from back in the beginning. So I'm doing a pre-loved market in November to just sort of pass some of those things on to other people, because it's not where I'm headed with my business. It's not what the pieces are not where I I love my mosaics, although they sometimes they can be 3 hours worth of sanding there, and I'll be like, oh God.
Yeah.
But then it's finished and I'm like, oh,
this is
I love it, and then my husband comes in and I go, look what I made today. And I go into my daughter's room if she's home, and my son's room, look what I made. So I still have that excitement about it. And, some things that I was doing probably don't bring me that love that other things. So,
Yeah, no, that's exciting.
There's more to come.
Yeah, so exciting.
But I'm not going to rush. I want to take my time with it.
Is there anything else you would like to leave the podcast with?
I don't know. I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for asking me. At first when you messaged me, I went, why are you asking me? But, I appreciate being able to sort of tell my story. I would probably overshare.
No, not at all.
Have fun, everyone.
I think one of my big things is like, and I said it to you before and I said it earlier today, is like vulnerability is power. And like the moment we start being vulnerable with one another and start sharing our experiences, the world becomes a better place.
I totally agree, because I think we live in a world now where people, they feel like they can't share who they are or they can't be themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of, it's made the world a not very nice place to be. No. There's so many not very nice people out there, but there's some amazing people out there. Yeah. And I've found that's the best part about what I've done is the people I've gotten to meet. And like you guys, I love that, like when I first started and I obviously realised and that's the other advice I'll give, make sure you're doing things the right way. Like you've got to have your insurance. And when I contacted you guys, that's what I love, personal attention. If I can get personal attention from a business, you've got me for life. Yeah. Even if there's certain products I probably don't buy from you anymore, personal attention is really, really important, and communication is really, really important. And I love that's what you guys, I love how you guys go to the market. I love seeing all the little, when Neil buys all his little
his little show and tells. He's not done a show and tell in a while.
I love that. And I love that you guys, you're real people. Yeah. And you are there, and you can see that you support your vendors, and like I love that. And I think there's not enough of that in the world now. I think you've got to, be yourself, but be a good person. Don't try and be. I'm not a perfect person. You can look back in life and go, I probably should have done that differently. Yeah. But by doing that, you go, well, I wouldn't be the person I am today.
Exactly.
So no, I thank you very much for asking me, and I hope it was all right. We lost our camera footage. I'm shame we didn't lose it right at the beginning, so you didn't have to look.
No, you look beautiful. Stop it. It's the joys of technology, you know. Sometimes your camera cuts out and then that's fine. We'll just see it for only half the time.
Enjoy listening to my ramblings. And then I hope I made my points. I have a tendency to go on tangents and
but I love a good tangent.
This girlfriend, we talk all the time. We leave voice messages because if we have phone conversations, we talk over the top of one another, and we can literally in a 1 minute Instagram voice message we can cover 4 subjects. So good. And keeping track is really, really hard. So it's hard, but I love that about people. Like everyone, you just got to be yourself, and exactly. Hopefully I've come across as myself today.
Absolutely. And I just think it's beautiful. And honestly, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm just going to do the little exit. I always have to preface to people, this is the most awkward part. No, because
if you don't stop me, I'll just keep talking.
No, it's just an awkward part of the...
It's like radio. Thanks for joining.
No, literally. Oh, goodness gracious. Alrighty. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining episode 8 of the Aussie podcast, Talk Small Business to Me. Thank you again.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. It's
such
been
a legend.
It's been fun.
It's been so much fun.
I know. I could keep talking.
Yeah, we love talking handmade. Yeah. Amazing. Anyway.
Wonderful.
Tune in next time.
Yep. Have a great day, everybody.
Yeah. See you next time on the Aussie Podcast. Bye.